It's intermission time. It's great to get out to the movies.
I'm Megan Braun. I host the Intermission podcast produced by The Synagogue, and today we have Mercedes Bryce Morgan on the show.
Hi. Yes, it's so nice to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. I just got off watching your movie. Do you want to tell the listener who you are, what you do, which project of yours we'll be talking about today?
Yeah, totally. So my name is Mercedes Bryce Morgan. I'm a director, and we're here to talk today about Bone Lake, which is coming out in theaters October 3rd.
Very cool. And this is a question I ask everyone that comes on the show. To be like a little self-reflective, I guess. But if you were to pick a movie that describes where you're at in life right now, what comes to mind?
Can I say a movie that I feel like I would like to be where I am in life, but maybe I'm not yet? I feel like Network, the kind of I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. I kind of wish I was like that at all parts of my life, but I think things have been so crazy in the world. It would feel so validating to be like that, but being able to get the energy and power to be like that, I feel like that I'm like that in a lot of ways in my life. But I wish that collectively for society as a whole.
It's more of your innate nature, but it's just not happening right now.
Yeah, I think it is my innate nature, but I think you need a collective of people to do that. And so
Valid.
it's doing it in little ways, but to do that societally all together is a huge thing.
Valid. That's a good answer. Cool. Well, I'm excited to talk about Bone Lake. First, we're just going to get into your general movie taste so I can better understand like what you like to watch and maybe what you don't like to not watch. First of all, did you grow up in a movie household? What kind of movies did you watch as a kid?
So actually, when I was probably in second grade, our satellite dish blew down. And so instead of getting TV again, my dad was just like, nah, we won't put it up. And so I grew up without TV, funny enough. And so because of that, the only way I could watch anything was to get blockbuster movies and to buy full seasons of TV shows.
Oh,
and so,
funny.
Yeah. And so my dad kind of instilled this love of movies in me. And so when I was in high school, I watched the whole IMDb Top 250 and I said, I have to watch every single one before I leave home. And so, yes, big movie household in that way.
Wait, that's a fun, what's the word? That's a fun accomplishment. I want to do that now.
Yeah. I recommend it.
Yeah, I like that. Because I often use Letterboxd a lot, but I like that. I'm going to do that, I think.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's still so many gaps in, like, films I've seen, especially being on this show. I'm, like, very aware of all the things I have not seen. So that'd be a great way to organize it.
Yeah, it's great because it's a combination of movies like Ingmar Bergman movies, but then also super mainstream box office movies. So it kind of gives you the whole lay of the land.
Yeah. I've also wanted to do something similar, but just with like Oscar winners. But like I think IMDb, like you're saying, it covers a little more of like the general blockbuster movie too, which would be good. Because it's also just cultural touchstones.
Exactly. I'm like, what is the zeitgeist?
Yeah.
What are people thinking and feeling across time?
Interesting. The blockbuster memories are so like fun when people bring up their childhood of watching Blockbuster. I just like love that, and we need that. I mean, the closest thing we have to it in LA is like Vidiots, I guess.
No, totally. I mean, I remember getting grounded in high school because I secretly streamed movies, and I wasn't supposed to be allowed to do that because it used up too much of our internet. And my dad checked our internet bill, and so I wasn't allowed to, use the internet for 2 weeks. And now I obviously don't own a DVD player like most people and stream everything. So just different times.
Yeah. The tables have turned for sure.
Yeah.
What types of stories do you want to see less of and more of?
Okay, so I have a theory of maybe a new era of film that we're coming into that I'm very excited about and movies I want to see more of. I feel like people were so excited talking about Sinners of how, oh my God, it's this original movie. But if you really think about it, we have so many vampire movies. So yes, it's original, but also it's in this genre people know. And so I'm kind of excited for non-IP movies.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is taking something like, K-pop Demon Hunters. It's original, but it's also taking something like K-pop groups that everyone knows and loves. And so I'm excited for, I think, a new way that more movies will get made and seen that are also original is taking things that people know that feel IP-based but aren't, so that we can go wild with it. So that's what I want to see more.
Cool.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like that's on the docket. That seems like where we're heading.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to see less of?
I think I want to see... I think that there's some remakes that are amazing, and then there's some that aren't. And so just slapping something on because it could be done just to do it, I feel like I kind of speak for most people when everyone wants to see less of that.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
Oh, I typically I'm just curious. I like to ask guests if they can think of the last film they saw in theaters and or streaming.
Yeah. So the last film I saw in theaters was actually The Roses yesterday. It was an early pre-screening, and it was hilarious.
Fun.
Yeah. It was just super witty dialogue, super smart.
Wait, you said pre-screening? It's not out yet?
Yeah, it's not out yet.
Okay, cool. I just watched the trailer for it. Fine. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I adored it.
Okay.
I thought it was well acted. I thought it was a funny, fun time, but also dark. I like things that are humorous, but also get dark.
Yeah.
And so that
I mean,
really,
like your film has that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that did it for me.
Cool.
Even though, I also watched Weapons recently, and I also love that. Streaming, I'd have to say K-pop Demon Hunters.
I still have yet to see it.
It's so fun.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Just super creative in every way.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome to watch something like that has impacted so many people.
Okay, so films growing up, going to Blockbuster, you're going maybe into the theaters. What are some of the standout films that you were watching growing up?
Oh my God, there's so many. I'd say that the two parts of my personality, though, is probably the OG Old Boy and then also Amelie, because I love things that are
both bangers.
Yeah, both bangers in different ways. I love things that are lifted from reality in a way, and there's a part of me that likes things that are dark and upsetting and twisted, and then I also love things that are lighthearted that you can laugh at, but still have this lifted quality.
I feel like Amelie was one of those movies where it was, at least I feel like in my generation, like most people's entry or gateway drug to like foreign cinema.
Yeah.
You know? Such a good movie. I was just seeing a photo, I think on Instagram or something, of when they cut her hair for the role. And it's just like such a perfect look, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of looks, we'll get into your film, but I really felt like the casting was cool in your film with the 4 leads, and they all had looks that I think felt appropriate, you know, to their characters. Casting is just like so important, and it was cool to see fresh faces that I didn't know, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. We picked people and paired them together in a certain way, and it's so cool that the looks, they do influences how actors move and how they interact with each other and how we're kind of differentiating everybody. So that was something we thought about a lot in the process.
Are you someone who likes to rewatch your favorite movies, or are you more of a I want to discover something new all the time?
I've probably seen all my favorite movies at least 10 times.
That's cool. I kind of wish I was more like that. I never rewatch.
Yeah, I feel like every time I watch it, well, okay, there's two parts of it. Either every time I watch it, I'm looking at something else, like the cinematography or the story structure, but then there's also another part of me of what am I going through at that life. So if there's a movie about loss and I watch it when I was younger and I hadn't experienced a loss in my life yet, and then I did when I was older, it will impact me. Or for example, I rewatched Blue Valentine again recently. When I was younger, I didn't know what divorce was, and then as an adult of divorce, I go, man, this movie hits 10 times as hard.
Yeah, it's a heavy movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm curious, like, if there's certain directors that you're a fan of, their work, and then do you think that you relate in any way stylistically, or do you admire them, but you're actually very different in your tactics?
Yeah, I think there's so many directors whose work I admire so much. Like, for example, Terry Gilliam is one of my favorite directors. But I don't think anyone would ever watch a Terry Gilliam movie and go, wow, Bone Lake is a lot like a Terry Gilliam movie. I feel like I've kind of, as my career has progressed, I've had more and more people tell me, oh my God, Mercedes, this movie is so you, and this shot is so you. And so I think I am accumulation of everything around me, but also can't help but be myself. And that's kind of how my work just kind of comes out, because I go, this is who I am, and this is my instinct going into it.
Yeah. I think I've said this on the show before, but I'm a graphic designer, and I've been told that as well, where I don't think I have a distinct style, but then people will be like, oh, that's so Megan. And I'm like, okay, like that's kind of cool that from the outside perspective, you are curating and creating in this like little world based off of your influence and taste.
Exactly. For you, you just feel like it's you, but obviously you're making decisions every step of the way, and so it can't help but be you.
Yeah. It just feels so I mean, obviously all my work is intentional, but unintentional in a way. Yeah.
It's subconscious of your choices.
Yeah. When choosing a movie, are you someone who chooses by director, cast, trailers, reviews? How do you go about picking a movie you feel like watching?
So I purposely try to not watch trailers because I feel like trailers give so much away, even though obviously as a director I know how crucial they are because the rest of the world does not operate that way.
Yeah.
I kind of have accumulation of people around me whose tastes I trust. And I'll kind of listen to, okay, what is the sphere around me? Are people liking this or are they not? And that's kind of how I go in and decide to watch something.
Do you get a say in the trailer cut for your film? How does that? I've never really asked someone about that process.
Yeah. So for Bone Lake, I definitely did. A huge thing that went into the trailer for this movie is there are so many insane, intense plot twists that we didn't want to give them away. And some things where we set it up where we go, okay, obviously this is something people are going to guess early on, and that's great. But there's things later on where we purposely go, no one's going to guess this.
Yeah.
And so when we went into the trailer, we wanted to make sure of that. And so it was a group discussion. And I know every director has a different experience, but mine was, okay, team effort. How are we going to protect this?
Yeah. I didn't end up, I don't think I had I definitely didn't watch the trailer of your film. I just went in cold, which is typically my favorite.
Yeah, which I love that.
Yeah. It's funny to think back, actually, in high school, it was like a big hobby of mine watching trailers. I don't know why, just like me and my friends loved watching
There's
movie
an art to them.
Yeah. But now I really don't anymore, especially with the podcast and how many films I'm like having and luckily getting to watch. I don't want to spoil it. And I want like a pure experience, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there a film that comes to mind when I say you didn't appreciate it as a kid, but more now as an adult? I mean, we kind of said that with Blue Valentine, but does anything else come to mind?
I think there's a couple. I did say that Persona is one of them. I think as a kid, I was too young to understand the metaphor that was happening. And as I got older, I go, oh, okay. Because I think I watched that when I was 14 for the first time. So not quite a 14-year-old movie.
Yeah.
Or Blue Valentine is another example of that. But yeah, I think if it's something that's a straight up drama and I haven't had the life experience, it's hard to understand all the intricacies that go into it until you live that life experience and come back to it.
Completely true. This is kind of so a tangential thought, but I've thought about that a lot recently with any like mother in a film and when they feel like such pain for their child or such love. And I'm just like, I can't fathom that, and I don't know why that's been like a thought I've been having recently is like I like have no reference point for that of being a mother and having like a person being outside of yourself that you care so deeply for. It's like a love, like I maybe one day I'll know, I don't know if I like ever have a kid, but it was just a funny realization because it's so obvious, but it is weird to just know that you can never tap into those emotions.
No, totally. And I think, like you don't know until you go through. And I think that good filmmaking is being able to have people experience other characters who aren't them and still enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
But I think that's the difference of someone rating a movie where they go, this was an awesome movie and was well made, 7 or 8 or 10 versus rating something a 9 or a 10. You go, it hit me in my soul because that movie gets me.
Yeah.
And, I've experienced that with certain movies. Like, for example, my first movie is about sexual assault, and there's some people walk away and go, okay, great. I love how that movie was made. It was beautiful, and we appreciate the intensity. And then I've also had other screenings where people come up to me and they go, that really touched me in a personal way to see that portrayed that way.
Yeah.
And it's just the difference of how people experience things.
That is an interesting first film topic. And now knowing, obviously, your most recent film, do you have to work a lot with... I forget what they're called.
Intimacy coordinators?
Yeah, intimacy coordinators?
Yes.
How is that like?
Yeah, so the way that I view intimacy coordinators is sex scenes should be thought in the same way as dance scenes or fight scenes because it's not actually sex. They're actors. It's simulated. We are choreographing movements and putting emotions to them to make it feel like it's real. And so the way that I like to work with intimacy coordinators is if people want to make something feel weird, it's going to feel weird. And if you act like it's normal, then it should be normal. And everyone has signed extensive contracts coming up to that point of what part of their bodies are being shown, what parts aren't, what has been discussed. So no one's pulling anything. And they're just kind of there to make sure everyone's holding true to that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Are you someone who gravitates towards movies that make you think deeply, or are you more of an, obviously everyone's a bit of everything, but are you that, or are you more of an escapism person?
Both. I like different things for different parts of my life experience at different times of the day. So, for example, Bone Lake, it examines a couple and their relationship, and that's something that people really loved about the movie. But at the end of the day, it is a popcorn movie, and we want people to go have fun while watching it. But I've also made other movies that people walk away from and they go, oh man, that was really heavy.
Yeah.
And so for myself, if I've had a long day or had something intense happen, I might not want to go seek that. Or I might go, I want something that makes me cry because that's how I'm feeling already.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so now we're going to get into your film, Bone Lake. Here I have a description. A couple's romantic vacation at a secluded lakeside estate is upended when they are forced to share the mansion with a mysterious and attractive couple. I like how attractive is in the description. That's funny. They are good looking.
It's a sexy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When working on this film, was it character driven first, or was it kind of the vacation gone wrong premise? What were you curtailing your focus on?
Yeah, for me, it was definitely the characters, because we have kind of a similar setup to Barbarian, but it veers in such a different direction. And with this in particular, we wanted to make something where people go into this relationship and they understand all the different dynamics. And that way, when we go into the horror of it, everything hits harder because you've spent so long with these characters. And I really wanted to take these grounded people in this world that just gets really intense and heightened.
Where did you guys film? That house was so pretty.
We filmed in Conyers, Georgia.
Whoa.
Yeah, so outside of Atlanta, and we looked at a lot of different places, and that was our house.
Sweet. Yeah, it was such a cool location. Horror often plays with the duality, the familiar versus unfamiliar, safe versus unsafe. How do you use that tension in Bone Lake?
Yeah, so I feel like in Bone Lake, it's taking an experience that we could all find ourselves in of we go in an Airbnb and it's accidentally double booked. But I think even more so than that, what we've seen people really respond to is the fact that it's having people examine their relationships and their dynamics with other people. And all types of people have liked watching it, but I've had couples discuss it with me afterwards, and they said, yeah, it made us talk about things or think about certain things that happened in our relationships at different points.
Yeah. I thought about that actually while watching I'm in a Relationship, and I was thinking like what me and my boyfriend's like arguments would be, especially if someone was observing us, like what the things, what would be like our go-to situations. Yeah. It was just funny to like zoom out about the relationship, I guess.
Yeah. How would you act in that situation? It's like, will this tear you apart?
Yeah.
Can you survive?
Yeah. Or even just being, I mean, we haven't done this that much, but being a couple on like a group trip. I know this wasn't an intentional group trip in this movie. It's a forced group activity, but like what comes out of your relationship by just the dynamic of someone observing you.
Yeah. Everything is different when you add in another ingredient of another person. It's always going to change something.
Yeah. Something about it too, I'm now just thinking of this, gave me like reminiscent feelings of Companion. Did you watch Companion?
Yeah. I loved Companion.
Yeah. I don't know what just like some element to it kind of gave a familiar tone.
Yeah. I think it's probably different couples going and vacationing in a place.
Yeah.
Everyone's sexy.
Yeah.
Oh no, shit's going to go really wrong in a fun way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is interesting to me. How much of the film was storyboarded or discovered during shooting? Are you someone who's like a little more spontaneous, or you kind of plan things out?
I plan extremely, and then I change in the moment when need be. So if an actor discovers something, I'm not going to limit them from doing that because that's going to make it better.
Yeah.
But particularly with indie movies, we have to plan so much. And so there's almost an entire version of this movie that exists with me kind of acting it out on iPhone video in the house. And we would literally make GIFs of me doing the blocking throughout the house that I would incorporate in my shot list.
That's something I would do.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
I'm like, here's me in a bathtub.
Yeah.
Here's me running through the door.
Yeah.
Here's me grabbing, this weapon.
I mean, that's pretty helpful. Yeah. That's pretty helpful for the actors, I would say.
Yeah. I try not to show it to them, though, because I want them to bring their own thing.
Yeah.
But I'll give suggestions of, this is why we would be moving here at this point.
Yeah.
And if it sticks, that's because it should. And if they challenge it and we come up with a good reason of, oh yeah, your character wouldn't come through this door at this moment, then they should not be doing that.
Do you get challenged as a director?
Yeah. And actually, I love it.
Okay.
I always want the best idea to win out. And so either when someone goes, hey, why are we doing this way? Either I can stand up and go, because it's important for this story point, and we know. They go, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Or they point out something that I might not have seen because I might not be viewing it from their character's perspective or in relation to something else because they're so narrow focused on that. And then I go, great, prove me wrong.
Yeah. That is a great point because obviously their only perspective they're living in is through that character in that world that you've created.
Exactly. Or even the makeup artist is thinking about things on such a level of they woke up and their hair was like this and they went to sleep and it was like this and they went through this situation and I can't do that or else, that's why it takes hundreds of people to make a movie.
That's cool. That's a really interesting perspective. We, I mentioned them earlier, but we had the two directors who did Novocaine on the podcast, that movie with Jack Quaid. And their makeup artists had such not challenges, but it was just one of those movies where because in the whole film he's getting wounded. Yeah. And so they had to like really have a storyboard of just like where
track
all
the continuity.
Of all the injuries. And I'm like, that's just something I would never even think of.
Oh yeah. I'll have hours and hours long conversations of what outfit do they wear on this day? Okay, great. Which outfit are we wearing this day? How does it track? How does it become bloody here? When is it torn? Do they change? They take off their cardigan when they run? Do they not? And we have to plan it out beforehand or else we might have to go reshoot a whole scene if we get it wrong.
Oh, and that's so much effort and money.
So much money. Yeah.
Were there any visual or thematic influences for Bone Lake aesthetic and look outside of films? Obviously, did you take inspiration from other types of sources?
Yeah, so many things. I, in a grounded character sense, I looked at Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf for kind of just how do you block these four people in a space with two different couples. But then it even got to places with Evil Dead 2, where we're getting to the running and the violence and we're chasing people through these spaces, and just even things like Clockwork Orange where we go, okay, how do we shoot this in this alternative way that edit it that we didn't think of before?
When you say alternative, it makes me think of the shot with the key or opening the door or whatever. That was a really
my favorite shot.
Yeah, it was a cool one where like the camera turns as he's turning it. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. No, exactly. We tried to find things like that. It's like, okay, and instead of just the camera being over here viewing him, how about if the camera is the doorknob and we're turning with him and things like that? Yeah,
I thought that was sweet. Wait, you just said something that made me, after Virginia Woolf, you said a reference.
Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead. Oh, you're just reminding me that I've been wanting to like go and watch them all in order.
I want to too.
Yeah, so I need to do that. I guess Halloween season's coming up, so maybe that can be like my time.
Yeah.
Horror audiences often expect twists. How do you think about subverting or leaning into those expectations with this film? I know we talked about it with the trailer, but
yeah, no, of course. I feel like with twists, especially with thrillers, we're always trying to have the who, what, when, where, why. And so people should have answers to some of them, but not all of them to be a good twist. So in this movie, we might at some point know the who, and that's the filmmakers go, yes, okay, great, you got the who, but we don't know the why they're doing it. And so for me, it's always, okay, what are we parsing out at each point to make that satisfying for people? And I say that the best plot twist is stuff that people can hopefully guess 30 seconds before it happens. A really smart viewer, because if people guess it too early, we go, okay. And there might be some people out there who like 1 out of 100 go, I saw it. And I go, great, you're super intelligent. I appreciate you. But then if people don't guess it all, it's because we maybe didn't give them enough clues.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of us looking at that process and making sure with tons of test screenings that it times out right for people.
Who are the people watching test screenings? How do you guys find viewers?
Yeah, so we actually hire like a service that goes and brings in hundreds of people off the street. They go, hey, do you want to watch this test screening? And that way we get that. Yeah, 100% same. And that way we get people of all different walks of life telling us what they actually think of our movie.
Yeah. That reminds me of like an odd job I had. While I had my first corporate job, there was like a company down the street that did that, but not for movies. It was for products. Like people could come in and you could just like make, I don't know, like $50 and just like try different like energy drinks or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean,
Just
the
like
thing
easy
that-
money.
Yeah, 100%. I think a thing that was funny with this movie is it's okay. How do you feel about the sexual content? And some people go, oh, my pearls, and other people go, yes, give us more.
Yeah,
and so it's just
all
also,
the different perspectives.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's okay. What kind of movie do we want to make for our audience?
Yeah. Speaking of casting, I said this earlier, but Maddie Hassan?
Mm-hmm.
She has such a strong presence on the screen. What drew you to her as the lead? And also, as I'm asking this, it's making me think like a film of this size, it's typically you're casting people that like we're not like so familiar with. And so I feel like casting is that much more important because we have to like buy in to them as a person. So I'm just curious what that process is like.
Yeah, for sure. So Maddie was actually in my first movie.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, and so I just knew that she's someone I could just trust. Like I've never seen her do a bad take ever.
Yeah.
And so especially with a movie like this, it allows us to have more time to be creative, to just know, okay, this person's just going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just has these micro expressions, like she'll scratch her face or do something else, and it just feels like a real human in this situation.
Yeah.
And especially with this, I kind of mentioned, but I wanted our protagonists to be grounded so we can feel for them what they're going through when things get absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. I'm sure she gets this at home, but she kind of looks like Florence Pugh.
She gets it all the time.
Yeah, she's
I'm
always
sure.
so sick of that. Yeah. But she was
great compliment. Though.
She was a really good actress.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. It's always fun to, potentially see these actors and like where they end up going.
Yeah.
And same with the directors we have on or DPs or whatever. If Bone Lake had to be paired, this is my final question for this section. If Bone Lake had to be paired as a double feature with another film, what would you pair it with?
I'd have to say that if Bone Lake was paired with another movie as a double feature, I'd probably say something like Fatal Attraction.
Cool.
Because we're trying to bring back erotic thrillers, but I think a great comparison to have them side by side is something like Fatal Attraction kind of punishes female sexuality, whereas that's the farthest thing I want to do in my movie. It's, okay, men are sexual, women are sexual. Everyone can be viewed in this way, and we get to have fun with it.
Yeah.
But also, we get to have fun with it and bring that back.
Cool. I watched actually Fatal Attraction for the very first time this year. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So good. Maybe it was last year. I was doing a just for fun because I'm OCD. I made like a graphic of all the memorable outfits from films that I've ever watched.
Oh, amazing.
But it was like color coordinated. Basically just like any, like everyone always says like the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, the yellow dress, but like stuff like that. And so I chose a scene from Basic Instinct as well of her in like the dress when she's getting interrogated or whatever.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, this last section, we're going to play a little game. It's called Find the Connection. I'm going to give you two completely unrelated films, and your job is to tell me an unexpected connection you see between them. There's not any wrong answers. So it's like, it could be an actor maybe that's in both, or it could be like both have themes of betrayal, or you could say...
You're saying find the similarity between them?
The two. And
Okay, cool.
in any way you take that.
Okay, cool.
And you don't have to be consistent through them. Like if one you're like they came out the same year, and the next one you're being more like metaphors. Okay. Oh, and if you haven't seen one of them, we could skip and go the next.
Sounds good.
Okay, first I have Arrival and Castaway.
One is about things arriving, and the other one is about
Things leaving. Yeah. Metropolis and Blade Runner.
I mean, I think the fact that they're both in very lifted worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, futuristic, dystopian. Yeah. The Graduate and Taxi Driver.
Actor, right?
Yeah. Lady Bird and Boyhood.
Coming of age.
Yeah. No Country for Old Men and Zodiac.
Male violence.
Yeah. Paris, Texas and In the Mood for Love.
Intense colors.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I'm glad to end it on that one. Both are so visually saturated in the best way.
Wildly so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will close this out with, can you plug your film of where the listener can see it? Any like last or like your contact or whatever.
Yeah, totally. So people should go watch Bone Lake in theaters on October 3rd. And I really do think it's the best theater viewing experience, because the experience I've had watching people watch it in theaters is kind of what I've seen with cult movies or just other great horror films where people will gasp or just have these visceral reactions. And so I highly recommend that as the viewing experience.
Very cool.
Yeah, if you want basically a horror, erotic, thriller, super sexy, fun, ridiculous, funny time. Yeah.
Perfect.
And you can go find me on Instagram at Mercedes Bryce Morgan.
Maybe if you could leave the listener with a movie that you think everyone should see at one point in their life.
I have a ridiculous one.
Okay.
It's something where I feel like if people love Bone Lake, they'll love this movie because it's a fun horror, campy, ridiculous time, but society.
Okay.
And for people who don't know the premise of that movie, imagine if one day you found out that you were adopted and your parents were also sexually involved with your sister, and you realize that it's really because they were aliens and that everyone who was in the 1%ers, it's because they're part of this alien class called the Society.
Wait, I've
That
never
is the
heard
premise
of
for this movie. It is fantastic.
Crazy. And I see, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It was great chatting.
Yeah, awesome.
And now it's time to get lost.
Good evening.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. To stay in touch, follow our Instagram page at It's Intermission Time and share with your friends. As always, Intermission is produced by Jazeel Chu and Olivia Deaton, and of course, hosted by yours truly, Megan Braun. This episode is brought to you by The Synagogue.